Only want to love if it's silent. What's good? What's good? What's good? You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here with another episode of the Juke Boy Sports Show. Thanks for pulling up. We made it, y'all. Another week. It's been wild out here. PlayStation Network went down. I was pissed because I happened to, in that gap where it was shut down, I was waiting on Call of Duty to finish downloading because I had just purchased it and I couldn't even play it the first 2 days. It was wild. But it's been a good week. Super Bowl, Luka debut. Let's get into it. But before we do all that good stuff, make sure if you want to do a podcast like what you're watching, music video, photo shoot, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fit Boxer. And if you're looking for a clean, jitterless, no crash energy drink, hold up, there it is. Go dubby.com, w.com, use promo code JUKE for 20% off. They're going to get you right. Let me take a swig. Delicioso. And follow us, like, comment, share, help the platform grow. Please help the platform grow. I'm trying to get to Twitch affiliate, do numbers. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube within the next 3 months. I'm trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. 50 subscribers by the end of the year, on 50 followers on Twitch. Trying to become a Twitch affiliate. Help me do numbers on YouTube. Support. Like, comment, share. If you're here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're here from the He Say, She Say channel on Facebook, go over to Juke Network on Facebook as well and follow that one. Once I get to 100 followers on there, I'll be able to go live. You can follow me at KYNGRALPH. TikTok while it's here, Twitch, Instagram, add an underscore for X or Twitter, and then follow us on the actual official page, Juke Sports Show, and you can catch your audio versions of these shows anywhere that you listen to your podcast, pretty much. And so Eagles put the beats on Mahomes and the Chiefs, 40-22. Honestly, man, I called some of the things that ended up happening. Now, I didn't know that it would happen to the degree in which it did, but in the end, I did think that the defense would be able to apply enough pressure to make it uncomfortable for Mahomes, specifically Jalen Carter coming up the middle. Josh Sweat had a hell of a game. Nolan Smith put a little bit of pressure on him, although he didn't really create like statistical numbers. But the defense was able to, and Vic Fangio being able to create a lot of pressure, 50% pressures with rushing just 4 people. He never rushed. He never blitzed in the game. And I really think that the Chiefs never really made an adjustment in the end. And I think that ultimately that was the main reason why they lost. Who do I really put most of the blame on? If I really had to put a blame on somebody, it's got to be Mahomes. I think that going into this, getting that three-peat, being the first to do it, the success that he's had at a young career, with mainly it being him as the focal point of it, versus like Tom Brady. Tom Brady played complimentary football for many of the early years of success that he had with the Patriots. Eventually, he became that guy, and it was him running the show and creating most of the plays, where earlier was hand the football off, don't turn over the ball, and make the big play when it really needed to be done. Where Mahomes has come in right away, won an MVP his first year starting, has been to, I think, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. And so to put the blame on him, I believe this changes that conversation of the GOAT conversation, where it was a for sure thing he was going to be up there with Tom Brady. Not to say that this changes whether or not he'll be up there. If Tom Brady is GOAT, then he's baby GOAT. Although, me personally, I think the GOAT quarterback is Peyton Manning, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But if Tom Brady is GOAT, Mahomes is baby GOAT. And I think that this does change it a little bit. It just put the brakes on it and enjoy this young man's career. He's still 27, 28 years old. And I think that with the way that he played, and now he has two blowouts in Super Bowls where Tom Brady didn't necessarily have that problem. But Tom Brady never got blown out in a Super Bowl. And him doing it twice now, where, yeah, it's kind of tough to put him up there with Tom Brady given the way that he played. There was opportunities that he had, like the first drive, he has Kelsey throws open in the middle of a zone, throws it behind him. He had many plays where he steps up in the pocket and just was throwing inaccurately. Where the thing about Mahomes was always that when the play needed to be made, he was going to make it. And he threw a pick six to Coop. He threw two interceptions, and he just never really looked like himself in this game. And that's ultimately why I put 80% of the blame on him. I do think that Andy Reid never really changing the tempo of the offense, and he never really ran the football is two of the main reasons why it made it that much harder of a job on Mahomes in the end. And so the quarterback on the other side, I believe he changes his narrative with this. 2 games in a row, 2 Super Bowls in a row, he outplays Pat Mahomes. This game, 17-22, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 through a tush push. And ultimately, he has over 300 yards in total offense. Two Super Bowls in a row, he outplays Mahomes. And the last one, he outplayed him, although it was in a loss because that fumble that he ended up having. And like I've been mentioning on the show many, many, many times, protecting the football is gold at the end of the day. Yeah, he had an interception in this one, so it lucked out that Mahomes had 2 interceptions and that the spoils go to Victor in the end. I do think that we do got a little bit halt the conversation here. Yes, him beating Mahomes when not many people have been able to is an amazing feat. But as an individual talent, I don't think that, and I'm gonna get into it later, evaluating the quarterback position. I don't think that this is the end all be all when it comes to a team success thing, because if Lamar Jackson had an opportunity to play Mahomes and his defense was chasing Mahomes around like the way that the Eagles defense was, we would be looking at a different team being in the Super Bowl last year. Buffalo Bills, the same way. We will be looking at it being in a different realm and a different team and being in these positions, because it's just one of those things of the Buccaneers when they played, Mahomes was doing everything he could to try to keep them in the game, and the defense was too much. You lose both your left tackle, right tackle, it's a wrap. Then this offensive line, although they had 3 Pro Bowlers on the inside, they was getting their ass whooped the whole game. You got 5, they got 4, and you just was getting blitzed like the whole night. Not literally, because they literally didn't blitz, but no chipping, no nudging, no nothing. And I do think that Jalen Hurts and the way that he's played on the opposite side of Mahomes does need to be praised. But let's not go overboard and start talking about him being better than Lamar or Josh Allen when he has A.J. Brown, Smitty, Goddard, Saquon, and then that defense on the other side. Pump the brakes a little bit. And so Deebo Samuels has been given permission by the 49ers to seek a trade. The thing about him, man, is he has such a specific skill set, especially in this era of his career, where you can't just throw him on a lot of teams. I do think that he is a talent and he works hard enough to where, yeah, he could be an outside wide receiver, but I think given his skill set, being that H-back slot gadget guy, is where he thrives at his best. And so I think the Rams, given that they already have Puka out on the edge, you got a good running back. Now you kind of have someone to do trick plays and run the football, catch swing passes Sean McVay and the creative mind that he is, I think that that's a really good fit for him. I think that the Falcons and their offensive coordinator, the weapons that they already have Drake London, Darren Mooney, Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix. He has legit quarterback. I think for him, he needs someone that's definitely, you have a number one receiver, a good quarterback, and a creative mind on the offensive side calling the plays. So it's like, as much as I think that he would be a weapon for the Ravens, I'm not sure that if they lose Likely, I would see where they're coming from. But given that them having Likely and Andrews and Bateman, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, I just don't think it's an embarrassment of riches to where he wouldn't really get the touches he would like. And so I think the Falcons, Rams, and then the Jaguars. I think the offensive coordinator from, I believe he was the 49ers offensive coordinator, Cohen, and you got Trevor Lawrence. I'm not a big fan at the quarterback position, but some people are. So you got Trevor Lawrence. What's my man's name? They got, I cannot think of his name, but they got a really good running back over there. Brian Thomas had a heck of a rookie season to grow on. Gabe Davis is over there. So now you could throw Debo in the slot, H-back, and he could be a legit weapon. Now, whether or not he wants to go to any of those teams, because outside of really the Falcons, I don't really see him having an opportunity to win a Super Bowl with the teams that I named outside of maybe the Falcons. And so sticking with football, the Titans have the number one pick. They have pretty much put that pick on the market. Should they trade the number one pick? And damn, I'm over here spilling all on myself. Trash. But should they trade the number one pick? If you follow this pod, you know me. I do not like Will Levis like that. I think he has a heck of an arm. But the accuracy and being able to read the coverages in a proper way, I just don't see it. Now, if you just feel like through your evaluations, Shador or Cam are not that much of an upgrade, that you just stick it out with Will Levis, trade down, get more pieces, and see what you can do going forward, I don't quite blame you, honestly. But I do think you need a quarterback of the future. Now, whether or not you trade back and you get a Jackson Dart, although I want him to go to the Raiders. He had a heck of a Senior Bowl. But I'm going to get into that later in the week, if not next week, as I start my NFL scouting combine, my pre-combine, and then I'm going to do my post-combine scouting reports. But for me, I think they should stay pat and take a quarterback. Now, if you move back a pick or two and you take whoever's left over from Shador and Cam, I'm not really upset with that, because that team was already so bad that you got multiple holes to fill on that team. So I'm not too upset with them go ahead and trading back, but don't trade back too far to the point where you lose out on one of the three top quarterbacks in this draft. And it was a big deal. Luka was traded to the Lakers. Lots of reports of whether or not he came in out of shape, plays defense, fit with the team, was a cancer in the locker room, all that stuff. Neither here nor there. But he makes his debut with the Lakers against the Utah Jazz in 24 minutes, 14 points. I think he had like 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and really just trying to find his footing with the team. I'm not going to hound him too much for not having like crazy numbers, given that you're playing with someone like a LeBron where it's like, all right, I don't want to come in and step on his toes, but LeBron is like, nah, bro, you here to be the guy, be the guy. So in the end, I do think that he'll end up having a much more bigger impact on the games going forward. I think LeBron is going to try to take a step back and play off of Luka, like I mentioned before. In the end, I do believe, and I feel like LeBron had hinted at if he hadn't just said it outright, he always wanted Anthony Davis to just step up and be the guy. And for whatever reason, AD never did it. Never really truly was the guy. He just always played a really good complementary role to LeBron. And so I do think that Luka has the star power and skill set to be able to step up and be the guy. Now, can LeBron be a complementary piece to Luka is the part that we got to figure out. But I do think that in the end, it's one of those things. Chill out. We doing too damn much. How good is this duo? Are they one of the better duos in the league? And it's like, all right, bro, Garland and Mitchell is killing. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown is killing. Then KD and Book, Steph, Draymond. Like, there's other duos that been around and been together for some time that, shoot, honestly, I'm going to take Wemby and De'Aaron Fox over LeBron and Luka right now as we speak. Now, if they were both in their prime, it would be a whole nother conversation here. But pump the brakes. They've only played one game together. We're going to see what happens next. And so, man, this show is going by fast. So we got the fast break here. And I mentioned it earlier. When we start to have these conversations and we start to look at, like I seen this graphic earlier, and it was quarterbacks that won Super Bowl MVPs and were all pros in their careers. And so there was the likes of Tom Brady's, the Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning. I believe Drew Brees was in that conversation. And so when you really start to look at it, and then eventually Jalen Hurts is in that conversation now that he won Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. And I think when we start to have these conversations, we need to reevaluate the way that we look at the dual threat quarterback, this quarterback position in general, because only looking at people's passing numbers is doing a detriment to them, where it's like, oh, well, this person didn't do this. Like, for me personally, there's no way in hell Josh Allen should have won the MVP. I get it. He did a lot with less, but given in the individual matchup, when they matched up, Lamar outplayed him in the regular season. His defense was the worst defense for like 9 to 10 weeks of the year. Eventually they got it together, and then they never lost a game until they got to the playoffs. And so I'm like, really, when you really think about it, Lamar had 4,000 yards through the air by itself. And the reason why I brought up Jalen Hurts rushing yards in the Super Bowl is if I just say, oh, he went 17 for 22, 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, you'd be like, oh, that's a pretty good game. But if I add in, he had 72 rush yards and a touchdown with those numbers, it's like, oh shit, Jalen Hurts balled out when he really needed to. And when we start to compare certain things, it's like, oh, like I seen this graphic a couple months back where they were comparing Cam Newton to Dak. But it's like when they posted Cam Newton's numbers, they left out the fact that they left his rushing numbers out, which that was a major component of what Cam Newton was as a quarterback. Was he the most accurate thrower of the football? No. When it comes to throwing versus throwing, Dak is a better thrower of the football. But Cam Newton as a weapon altogether, he's just a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Josh Allen, in my personal opinion. But I think that all of the things, the totality of the picture, if you just measure their numbers from throwing the ball, yeah, Josh Allen on most years is gonna be better. This year specifically, Lamar Jackson had a better year throwing the ball in every category. And then on top of that, he almost rushed for 1,000 yards too. So he pretty much had a 5,000-yard year, but we're not going to look at it that way because 900 of those yards was him going on the ground, where the quarterback stat is the crazy stat is the 5,000 yards through the air only. But I think that when we start to evaluate this dual threat quarterback, as it becomes a more and more prevalent thing, we need to adjust the way we look at stats and evaluate quarterback stats. You feel what I'm saying? And so when I was getting ready for this pod and I was doing my prep, looking up stuff, I got to watching Unrivaled, which is the league that I believe Stewie, Sabrina, and some other WNBA players created a 3-on-3 league where they branched off and now they're into a 1-on-1 tournament. And I'm watching it and I'm like, you know what? The NBA should adopt this because it's really entertaining. They're really going after it. Now I get it. There's certain things, of whether or not they'll play hard, where the final prize, the 200,000 that the winner could win. That's the best. That's one of the best contracts that you could have in a WNBA season in the league with the way that their salary cap is built. So I understand why the players are playing a little bit harder there. Where if I win this, I really don't have to go overseas and play. So I understand that it's just a little bit apples to oranges when it comes to that conversation of putting this in the NBA. But I do think that the way that the All-Star game and All-Star weekend has been, it's just been so lackluster that trying something different. Like, who wouldn't love to see Chet versus Wemby in a 1-on-1, or LeBron and KD in a 1-on-1, and then you put Ant against a Luka or Ant versus Jason Tatum. Like, who's the best player in the league? Like, 1-on-1. That's a way to really establish yourself in a true sense of the sport, because it's not necessarily Luka's fault for losing to the Celtics. It's just the way it looked, where he was just getting blown by. He was a complete liability on defense. But if he had played at least some effort and then lost to the Celtics, I wouldn't really be mad that the Mavericks lost to the Celtics in the finals. It's just the way that it looked. So you really could have had an opportunity to say, like, all right, Luka is definitely the best player in the league, but being a complete liability on defense and Jason Tatum balling out the way that he did kind of puts it in a point where Jason Tatum has an opportunity to put himself right there neck and neck with him, where in this 1-on-1 tournament, it's just you versus me, mano a mano, who gonna get the dub. And so far, Unrivaled, this 3-on-3 thing that they're doing, the 1-on-1 that they're doing, they're really going after it. They're playing hard, playing tough, being physical. The refs are letting them play, and I like it. I'm here for it. And so Kellen Moore gets the head coaching job. But the big thing is, I think this is 3 years in a row that Jalen Hurts is going to end up maybe even going into his fourth year in a row where he's going to have a new offensive coordinator. But honestly, with the team that they have, if they're able to keep everybody, I really think if they were to lose Vic Fangio, it would be a way bigger hit, because the Eagles struggled last year, but they were 7th in rushing, 8th in total offense. Oh, no, 7th in passing, 8th in total offense. And they finished with those exact same rankings this year. So, and they still won a Super Bowl. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't really think it was that, like, getting Kellen Moore was that big of a hire for them. I think it was just more so he's young, a young offensive coordinator who had a good track record of a good passing game. And when it really truly mattered, the passing game came through, because in the NFC Championship game, Jalen Hurts balled out. In the Super Bowl, he balls out. Saquon struggles, had a hell of a year. So they're packing the box. And I went into it saying, can Jalen Hurts win the game? And he showed that he could. So I think it's more so about the players play. So I'm not like, if I was an Eagles fan or even in that organization, too bummed. Yeah, we're happy for him at the end of the day. But I don't think it's a crazy hire. He's going to have to show me as a head coach for the Saints and being able to turn that organization around. And so with the little bit of time I got left, I did low-key want to address the halftime show. Me personally, bro, I think that Kendrick did a hell of a job. I think the cinematography, the storytelling, Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, telling Kendrick Lamar to conform and don't be too ghetto and stick to the script, and him going and playing Not Like Us when many people said that he shouldn't have. He did Humble, then he did DNA, and then just the build up through all of it. I really truly enjoyed it. Now, as a person that's watched the Super Bowl for some time, I think a lot of y'all bullshitting when it comes to the whole idea of this being the worst Super Bowl ever. Because I'm not finna sit here and act like, go back through history, look it up. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake are out on stage. Janet Jackson titty come out. After that, we never had a real like hip hop artist until Jay-Z took over and was the main one trying to get the people in booking hip hop artists for Super Bowl performances. We had to deal with the Maroon 5s, the U2s, the Who's, the all types of people that it was just like, what the fuck? And it got to a point, honestly, for me, like I don't even remember Lady Gaga was one of the years. And as much as I like Lady Gaga, I still didn't watch the Super Bowl show. I went to go smoke at halftime. I would always go, oh, let's go on a beer run. Let's go grab something, or we're out of something. Like I stopped paying attention to the halftime show after that until recently when we started getting Beyonce, The Weeknd, Dr. Dre, and Snoop when they did the one in LA, and now having Kendrick Lamar or Rihanna a couple years ago. Every year they're complaining, and it seems to be it's always going to end up being this whole thing of like the undertone of what's being really said is you can see what the fuck it is. And at the end of the day, hey, it's Black History Month. Stay black, y'all. And I appreciate y'all for watching. I do got to get up out of here. About to go play me some Call of Duty, honestly. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you go subscribe, comment, like, share, all that good stuff. If you're here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. If you're on Facebook and you're on the He Said, She Said channel, go over to Juke Network and follow, like, all of that good stuff over there. Once I get to 100 followers on that page, I'll be able to go live straight from there. Follow me at KYNG RALPH. TikTok while it's here, Twitch, Instagram, at an underscore for X or Twitter. And you can follow us, the actual Juke Sports Show page on Instagram, as well as you can listen to the audio version in the morning. I drop it at about 10 a.m. Pacific time, but you can listen to us on anywhere that you get your podcast. But thanks for watching. I'm out of here.